Francis Ngannou looks like a man who gets what he wants when he wants it. But his path to the title is more a story of persistence than power, of discipline than destruction. Saturday night, Francis used all the weapons in his arsenal en route to capturing the most prestigious title in MMA, the UFC heavyweight strap. We got a lot to talk about from this card, including welterweight dark horse Vicente Luque, up-and-coming Miranda Maverick, Khabib's cousin, and NFTs. What do NFTs have to do with MMA, you might ask? If you don't know, you're about to find out.
So UFC 260 went down Saturday, March 27th at the Apex in Las Vegas, Nevada. And what's at the Apex? The 25-foot octagon, which we already did a video on that. If you need to get filled in about how we feel about the smaller octagon, especially when dealing with heavyweights, check the link above.
Yeah, and we were dealing with some heavyweights last night. I mean, Stipe and Francis are both large men, and there really wasn't that much room for either one of them to move around in there. But this might not be a bad thing. DC said that he felt Stipe had game plan for fighting in a smaller octagon when Stipe fought DC for the third time, and he said he thought Stipe did a really good job with his game plan. Yeah. So we can't say that the smaller octagon was a favor for either fighter. But I don't think Stipe game planned for the Francis Ngannou that showed up last night.
No, I don't think anyone was ready for that. Just seeing how much this man has improved in the 2 years in between the first match against Stipe, his first title shot that he got, where he got owned by Stipe for 5 rounds.
Yeah.
So in 2 years, who would have thought that this man who hasn't even had that much MMA training under his belt can come back and do what he did that night?
So I'm going to have to just say it. I was saying all week that I didn't think Francis had been working on his wrestling enough, and I thought Stipe was going to take him down and control him. And man, I was wrong.
Oh.
Francis stuffing that takedown was just the end. I mean,
game changer.
I watched Stipe shoot, and I watched Francis start to drape the head like he was thinking maybe he's going to guillotine him. And then I watched Francis mentally decide, no, I'm going to do what I've been training to do. Dig the underhook and sprawl heavy on Stipe. And that was just the death knell.
Yeah, it was fast too. The style that he did the sprawl, he spun around to the back, like it was just like 1, 2, 3.
And the thing you run into a lot of times with really powerful punchers is even if they say they're working on their grappling, they're not working on their grappling. That's what I thought had happened with Francis, but I was wrong. He's obviously been working his wrestling, and it's going to make him so much more dangerous than he has been before. I mean, If you can't take this man down, who hits as hard as Francis? Maybe Derek Lewis, which is the matchup they're trying to make after this fight?
Yeah, and Derek Lewis is coming off of an impressive knockout victory against Curtis Blades, who was the other man that they were talking about that was in title talks should he have won that fight. So that was a really impressive win for Derek Lewis, but that only means that this is a rematch of what was
the worst heavyweight fight in UFC history. I was there live for Ngannou versus Lewis, and it really was as bad as they say it is. You don't have to go back and watch it unless you're a glutton for punishment. But yeah, they're talking about making that rematch.
Yeah, that's a little much.
They're talking about making that rematch over the fight that everybody wants, Francis Ngannou versus Jon Jones.
Yeah, and all of these talks, all of these opponents, it's because Francis Ngannou beat Stipe so decisively. He knocked him out clean, and he showed his true mixed martial artist abilities. He went from someone who could knock you out in a few seconds to someone who can go possibly 5 rounds and keep a measured pace, mix it up with the strikes, know how to stuff a shot. Like, because he did all this, there's all these opponents in the talks for him, except for the man he just beat, who has beaten him, who is considered to be the greatest heavyweight of all time, Stipe Miocic.
Yeah, and I think that the UFC is purposefully trying to keep Miocic out of the conversation because he was never a big draw for the company. He's not the most exciting guy in the media. He's meat and potatoes, solid, great heavyweight, but he doesn't pull in the numbers. I would bet that the UFC is going to do everything they can to make a rematch between Francis and Stipe not happen.
Yeah, I mean, the fact that Dana White was talking about Derek Lewis first, knowing that the fight that they had was so unwatchable, the fact that they would want to do it again, like when the live crowds are starting to come back and like live events are starting to kick off and like all this buzz going on, and especially with the heavyweights right now, all eyes are on them. And he's saying Derek Lewis. That and what does he say when asked about Stipe? Oh, he might retire, like just as if like he's
Written
already
out.
gone.
Written out of the conversation.
Yeah.
That's what they want. But I also think the reason they're talking about Derek Lewis is leverage against Jon Jones when he comes to the negotiating table. Jon Jones tweeted Saturday night, right after Francis won his title, "Show me the money." Jones is not going to be undervalued for his heavyweight debut. He is going to want to get paid. And the UFC, they're going to try to make that fight, but at a bargain rate. I guarantee you that's what they're doing.
And now Dana White is kind of egging him on, saying, yeah, he's probably going to want to move down to 185 if I were him. And yeah, he'll talk the talk, but when it comes down to actually fighting this man, this champion, and Francis Ngannou, is he going to do it? I don't know. He might be scared.
Dana White is so quick to say that fighters don't want to fight.
Oh, yeah.
When it's all about the money. Fighters don't want to fight for less than their value. That's what Dana White should be saying. But he's the promoter. He's got to get bargain for his matchups. I get it, but you just can't take what he's saying at face value.
So enough about what Dana White wants for the fighters and what he thinks the fighters want. What do you want to see? He looked spectacular in that fight against Stipe, who is the greatest heavyweight of all time.
What do you want to see? Do you want to see Ngannou versus Jones? Do you want to see Ngannou versus Lewis too? Do you want to see Stipe get his rematch? Let us know. Drop a comment below.
Now I'm going to tell you who we think we want to see him fight. Jon Jones. Of course. How could you not?
No, it's a dream matchup. People have been talking about it for a while. I think it is the fight to make. It's unfair to Stipe, but that might be the way it goes. Now, I'll tell you what else I want to see regarding Francis Ngannou. I want to see how much the value of his limited edition collaborative NFT with Boss Logic goes up in the coming months.
Yeah, what a clever drop that Boss Logic did in collaboration with Francis Ngannou.
If you've been following MMA for a while, you know who Boss Logic is. He does sick edits, alternate fight posters that are better than the UFC's official fight posters. And Boss Logic has been big into this NFT thing. NFT, short for non-fungible tokens. It's digital art, to break it down simply. You can purchase digital art online using fiat payments or cryptocurrency, and you can own the rights to one of these pieces. Now, Boss Logic dropped 4 different works of art, all pertaining to the Francis Ngannou versus Stipe Miocic fight, 2 the day of, and 2 immediately after the fight. These pieces are already selling for more than you picked them up for. As Francis's stock rises, I bet the value of those pieces goes up incredibly.
Oh, for sure. It's the first one of major release. And Boss Logic, who's just, his artwork definitely appreciates in value. So it's a great win-win situation. Proceeds went to Francis Ngannou's charity that he works with. And it's just like such a great thing.
This NFT thing. It's an avenue for fans of MMA to start collecting, can't call it memorabilia, but MMA related art. And this work that Boss Logic and Francis Ngannou just released, this is the first official MMA NFT. I've looked around to try to find some. Like, you know how they're doing the NBA Top Shots thing? The UFC is going to do something like that, but they haven't yet. This is the first official one. So
it's a big deal.
Look, if you're a betting man, you could look at this like betting. If you are a collector, you could look at this as collecting MMA memorabilia. But go take a look at this work of art and see what you think.
Yeah.
Also, if you know anything about NFTs and we're saying something dumb because we don't really know, drop that in the comments right here. If you do a decent basic explanation of what an NFT is, we're going to pin it in our comment section. We'd actually appreciate it greatly.
And now on to something that we maybe know a little bit more about than NFTs. The co-main event of UFC 260.
Tyron, the Chosen One Woodley versus Vicente Luque, who is the dark horse of the welterweight division. And this fight delivered.
Vicente Luque has been a fighter that I have just been watching, keeping my eye on, because every single time he fights, he puts on a spectacular performance. And just showing why he is that dark horse in the welterweight division. That knockout power, very scary.
His striking is really good, really technical, really powerful. His grappling, well, after last night, you know he's got some sick submissions.
Yeah.
Maybe even more impressive is the fact that he forced Tyron Woodley to have an exciting fight.
Well, maybe Tyron decided to come out there swinging because, I mean, he looked way better than we have seen him, but unfortunately, the man across from him that he was fighting is just a beast. So he was just, I knew he was going to lose. I just know Vicente Luque is going to hit that top 10, no problem, and he can definitely make some work of those guys.
Yeah, and he actually called out Nate Diaz after the fight. He said even though Diaz isn't ranked in the top 10, he said he'd really like that fight. I think that's the fight to make. That fight would be so exciting, and it would give Luque, were he to win, a win over another big name, propelling him closer to the top of the division where he belongs.
Yeah, that's a really smart call out because that is a fight that he can potentially win, and win in that exciting fashion that he always tends to give us, no matter who he fights. So picture that, fighting Nate Diaz, who always puts on an awesome fight too. Fireworks, I mean, it writes itself.
Everyone wins.
Yeah, Tyron, he's, what, 4 in a row now?
Yeah.
Yeah, and he's older. That's what Dana White said. He was just basically saying Tyron should retire.
Yeah, Tyron's on the chopping block. People are talking about maybe him going to Bellator. He could retire. I mean, if he's got enough money, he could just retire. He did great things in the sport.
Hell yeah. He held that title. He held on to it. He beat some tough guys.
Knocked out Robbie Lawler.
That is extremely impressive in of itself. So, you know what? If he were to retire now, hey, he has had a great career, so.
Next, we're going to talk about a fighter who's got a bright career ahead of him, as bright as his frickin' hair. Sugar Sean O'Malley came back, righted the ship after his loss to Marlon Chito Vera, which O'Malley still will not admit to. He still thinks he won the fight. I don't know, he's a head case.
Yeah. Now, he's still undefeated.
That's right.
Because he didn't lose.
Mentally undefeated. Yeah. Well, he was actually undefeated last night in the octagon, vanquishing Thomas Almeida in spectacular fashion.
Yeah, oh, that made me so sad because Thomas Almeida, man, he has had some really great fights and he's been losing, and Sean O'Malley slept him pretty bad. He was hurt throughout the whole fight. He is one of the toughest guys you will ever see in the bantamweight division, and you just saw Sean O'Malley go out there and just put on the show that he does, that he likes to do. He likes those walk-off KOs. Maybe he was a little overzealous in the first round because Thomas Almeida is not going to get slept by one shot in the first round. I mean, he got right back up, and I'm good on Mark Smith for giving him that opportunity to. But towards the end, his nose crunched in, done.
Yeah, by the time O'Malley actually did go to finish the job was already done. O'Malley did put that last shot to finish him. He should have kept that energy in the first round and just made sure he knocked Almeida out instead of trying to get a YouTube moment with a walk-off KO. But that's neither here nor there. O'Malley righted the ship. He's back in the win column, and they'll probably match him up higher up the card next time, I would say.
Yeah, I feel like they do want to keep that hype around him because he has that little sprinkle of magic that you want to look for in a fighter, the exciting performances, those YouTube moments. I don't really like him on the mic lately. I feel like he kind of comes off a little...
He comes off like a scumbag. I don't like him at all.
Yeah.
But he's a fun fighter to watch.
Yeah, so good on him. And there's just a couple more fights on the card that we need to talk about because Miranda Maverick just showed everyone who she is and where she belongs in the flyweight division.
Yeah, I mean, we had seen Maverick fight in Invicta, and you could tell she was strong and had a lot of potential.
Yeah, she's young, too. She's
23?
only like 23.
Yeah. But
so much raw potential.
Last night, with a victory over Jillian Robertson, and I like Robertson. It's kind of sad to see her
she's
lose.
cool. She's a tough chick. Always down to fight.
But Maverick showed that she is going to be a force to be reckoned with in the flyweight division in the coming years. Is she ready for Valentina now? No. But give her a little time.
But give her a couple more fights, pump her up. Don't give her that fast track. She needs more time. She is very young. She has plenty of time. But man, that raw talent that she has, that knockout power, and that fight IQ for a 23-year-old, very high.
Farm strong that woman is. Also, apparently Khabib has a lot of cousins, and one of them fought last night en route to a unanimous decision victory, and Khabib was cornering him. And we talked about this before. This might be Khabib's new MMA avenue. Khabib might become the greatest cornerman that Dagestan has ever produced. I don't know, because his cousin did pretty well.
Yeah, we don't want Khabib to go away. He is a fixture in MMA. He is needed.
Well, the fighters that he's cornering sure seem to need him, and they sure seem to benefit from his corner advice.
Yeah, Dana White seems to need him, taking him out to dinner all the time.
Yeah. Last note,
letting him illegally stream the fights last week.
Dana was pissed. He was like, his face was all red.
Yeah.
Last note on this, though. Every fighter from Dagestan that Khabib corners seems to be a better striker than him. Now think about this. Is it possible that Khabib is actually the worst striker from his whole team, and we just never knew because he was so dominant a grappler? What do you think? No? Crazy conspiracy theory?
I don't think so. I think he's a really excellent striker.
Whatever. I was thinking about it last
McGregor.
night. Somebody's thinking the same thing as me.
All right, we'll
see.
We'll see if anyone agrees.
All right, guys, it's the time in the video when we got to drop the comment shout-out from last week. Last week we got a good comment from MMA Medlife. He's also got a YouTube channel. Here's his comment. Go check out his content too.
Yes, thank you for your comments. If you guys want to get shouted out, leave your comments down below. We will pick out the best comment. Especially if you're going to do that NFT definition.
Yeah, that would
we'll
be
definitely
really
pin that. But until then, we have a little surprise for you. This is not our actual merch. This was our first attempts at merch.
First edition.
Yes, we have brand new merch coming out. We just updated our store. So if you guys want to support us, if you guys want to rock a
cool Fight Fuel mug, you
or
want to do the clink, something, no? We got them. They're up on Teespring.
Yeah, check them out. Links down below, and we'll see you guys on our next video.
All right, guys. Fight Fuel MMA signing out.